Welcome back to Horsepower Ranch, Florida. I've been slowly posting videos of the dually progress. It's good. In a more recent video, I showed you guys that we got some power adders for the white truck. I explained that I had some issues registering for sick week. Unfortunately, a lot of people did, or at least enough that I saw a lot of comments on social media about credit cards being flagged as fraud, unfortunately. That happened to me, and by the time I got another credit card and tried to resolve, text yes back to the credit card company and then process it again, it was sold out. Huge, massive bummer, but I am on the wait list, and hopefully I get off the wait list. And we're going to prepare for sick week as if I was not on the wait list and actually going to participate, because at any moment I could get an email or a call that says, hey, you're in, and I need to be ready. I think today there's like 54 or 55 days till sick week. So that's not a lot of time. I'm not doing, you'll think I'm crazy when I say this, but I'm not doing nearly as much to prepare for sick week this year as we had to do last year, because if you recall, put a cam, a new rear end, a single piece drive shaft, a whole new fuel system. I did a lot. An entire valve train, head gaskets, the whole deal, right? This was a lot of work for me to prepare for sick week last year. I've had a blast with this truck, and now it's time to go a little faster. I won't say I had an issue, but certainly the heavy wheels, the gearing that I chose, because remember, we're drag and drive, not just drag race. So I did go with a gear that was a little more street friendly. But between that and being naturally aspirated, I wasn't disappointed at all. If you go back and you watch, you'll see how excited I was to run in the 12s with this big, heavy, naturally aspirated truck. And it performs great, drives great, super reliable. It's awesome. But I'd like to get my 60-foot time down, ultimately bring the speed up, and bring the ETs down to the quarter mile as well. Now, I can't go crazy because this truck is not caged, roll barred, harnesses, the whole deal, and I have no desire to do that. This is more of a street truck than it is a drag truck, and so I'd like to keep it that way. However, you'll see over here, we've got a supercharger, an LSA Supercharger, to put on this 6-liter, which we know is a really good low mile 6-liter LQ4. I got a whole kit, and we'll walk through that again. I did a really quick video showing what the kit was, but we'll go through it again. I'm still waiting on a couple parts here and there. I do have to put electric fans in, maybe, I think, all that stuff, because I think the way the snout and the throttle body and the air intake, which has to be shifted, is all gonna get in the way. Well, the shroud will get in the way of all that. I don't need to replace the rad and all this crazy stuff. This is really going to be a fairly straightforward, I'm not gonna say easy or simple, but I'm very much looking forward to this installation. I've not spent a lot of time in the shop lately, so I'm looking forward to chugging away here. I think I've ordered as much as I need to do this install, but you know how it goes. You get into this thing and suddenly you need this, you need that, little things here and there. And of course we're going to need to run the parts store. That's okay. It's not far. So let's get into it. I have installed many superchargers on LS vehicles in my day. I've got the CTSV in the back. Of course, that had a blower in it from factory. It still does. That's the same blower we're putting on this truck. There are a couple adapters to get it to fit, or I could have put new heads on. Either way. I don't need heads. Maybe sometime down the line, sure. We put this on the dyno at LS Fest. I think it made like 355 or 360, somewhere around there. At the wheels, which for a naturally aspirated truck, going 12 seconds in the quarter mile with 350-ish horsepower, again in a 4,500 pound truck, I'll take that. I mean, this truck runs great. We just want it to run a little faster. So everything on here comes off. We've got brackets, we've got injectors, fuel rails, the blower itself, the lid. We got to run coolant lines. I got to pull the grill out and put an intercooler in, which I have. Yeah, let's dive into it and enjoy it. I don't need to finish this today or even this weekend. It's Saturday right now, after Thanksgiving. We'll try and keep track of that as we go as well. So yeah, let's dive in. I'll give you another really quick tour of what we got. Super thankful for Lance at R&D Performance and Fabrication to hook me up so quickly. I'm not sponsored. I paid for this just like everybody else. But I messaged him, I want to say like on a Sunday, and that following Thursday, maybe even that following Wednesday, I had the blower itself, and then a couple days later, the lid and all the other pieces came. So two boxes, perfect packing, flawless. He's been really great. He's got, Lance's tremendous respect from a lot of guys in the LS Swap and LSA Swap groups in social media. Just runs a great business. There are a lot of places you can go. Boost District, you can build your own kit. There's a ton of things you can do to get an LSA kit, but even BTR, and you guys know I love working with BTR. They're a great company, but I didn't find anyone's kit that was near as complete as the R&D kit from Lance. He said, you need a couple things here and there, like a belt and some other stuff, but very, 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 very minor. It came with pretty much everything we're going to need. I did order a Motion Raceworks catch can that's vented. When you make boost, your crankcase pressure goes up. So I want to take care of that. I've got a catch can here. We'll put that on the blue truck eventually once we get the new rear end in that thing, because I grenaded that. But this is our focus for now. Anyway, I didn't want to build my own kit and have to think about where this came from, where that came from. Oh, I forgot this part. I didn't realize I need that part. Instead, I just got a really complete kit for really, really good money. Like, so good, I'm not sure how he's making money on these kits, but that's fine. He obviously is. I just wanted one place to go. He's available like what seems like 24 hours a day. Lance, I won't hit you up too late. But anyway, he's very responsive and answers all the questions that I've had in terms of what am I getting here so I can measure and prepare. What parts do I need beyond what you've sent me? And I fully expect anytime I reach out to him through this process, it will be a similar experience. Hopefully, I won't need to too much. The only thing that I will say that this kit lacks is instructions, and I think that's probably true for a majority of these LSA swap kits. This is hot rodding, folks. You got to figure stuff out. And if you can't, there's LSA swap groups. If you're stuck without instructions, there's always someone who's experienced what you've experienced and done what you're trying to do. Again, Lance is really, really a great point of contact for the information. But if you're somebody who needs to follow instructions step by step, this probably isn't for you. You'll definitely get lost. But if you've done an LS swap and you got it running, great. I'll say also, don't expect that this thing is going to fix or make things better if you're having problems. So if your wiring is a mess, if the engine is knocking, if something is not doing what it's supposed to do before you start, it's going to get worse when you do the LSA installation, the blower installation. I've done lots of Magnuson blower installs. I'm a big Maggie guy, but this is an older block. I'd have to go and get a used one. Again, it was this whole thing. Or just go LSA. I've never done an LSA swap. It's the same thing as a Maggie blower, but I wanted to go LSA because I think it's really clean. I got a ZL1 lid instead of the CTSV lid. I think it looks a little neater, and it was part of the kit. And in fact, Lance said, oh, you could get a CTSV lid. He said, I only have a couple left, and that's why I said, you know what, here's my card, just ship me what you have. I think I got like his last one or two. I could have taken the kit. I do have another CTSV lid and a brick and all that stuff, but again, it's a complete kit. I didn't want to screw around, and I do like the way the ZL1 lid looks. So let's dig in. I'm sure we're all going to learn stuff together that I wasn't expecting, but that's okay too. We're going to get this thing running and ripping. So let's take a quick tour of the parts we got and start ripping into this thing. Take the intake off, the accessories, water pump will stay on, take the shroud and the fan, all that stuff. We'll have to pin the crank. It's not easy, but it's not difficult if you take your time, think through it, and find the answers to your questions. So let's get started. All right, here obviously is the blower itself. I've got the lid on it right now. See if I can pull the lid off. Yep, okay. So you can see that Lance does, and his team, they do make some changes. So for example, November 1st of this year, they put oil. It says oil full and solid isolator. What is a solid isolator? Well, inside here is a bushing, and to take it off, to get to it, you have to destroy this pulley. So obviously I'm glad we don't have to do that, but here is a solid isolator. I have one for the Cadillac CTSV. Essentially, there is a rubber isolator inside this shaft, and the rubber eventually will fail, and you'll get this rattling inside here as the blower, or as the belt turns the blower. Lance has already gone, well, R&D has already gone ahead and replaced that isolator with a solid one, which is great. I don't have to do it. So I'll never have to worry about that becoming an issue. They also mark things here, for example, as boost reference. So this will go to our fuel pump, and then we'll probably find another spot to put our gauge for the boost gauge, which I have as well. You'll see here that there are pins that line up, or dowels that line up with these holes in the cover, so you know that everything is good. This is the ZL1 lid. Again, I prefer this over the CTSV lid. It just looks nicer. My understanding is they don't flow any better, but that's a debate for the internet, and I don't really care. I'm not trying to make massive power here. Comes with the map sensor, air intake temp for the blower itself, and let's see, he's got AN fittings that go on here, which we'll talk about in a minute. Then we've got all kinds of holes and stuff that we need to fill, that he sent plugs and stuff for. I've got throttle cable adapters, blah, 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 right? So anyway, you can really go crazy, and you can get these blowers ported and all kinds of just insanity. I don't care, guys. I'm not looking to make 1,000 horsepower. 500 would be great. Might not even get there. In fact, I doubt I'll get there. Maybe close, but this is fine. We're just looking to go a little quicker, okay? So we'll get there. In any case, to fill this blower, you pull the plug, put oil in it till it comes out. They've already done it, which is great. I don't have to worry about it, at least not for a very long time. I believe this blower, I know it's brand new, and I believe it comes with a 1-year warranty from GM directly. And you can see here, that's a GM lid as well. So pretty Frickin' sweet. Okay, let's flip this guy over and you can take a look. Inside here, we talked about these lines that he ships AN fittings with, but these are coolant lines, that's all. This is an intercooler that's for inside the blower. They call this a brick. When you start making big boost, these things on the end here will actually start to collapse. Somewhere over there, I've got another brick that actually is reinforced. They weld plates on them. Again, not too worried about that. This is easy to get off and fix or replace if I ever had to, but I don't think I will. All the gaskets, everything is included. This one's not on here yet, but it'll go in so that the brick seals to the blower itself and you're not getting air leaking in or out of places air doesn't belong. So pretty cool. You can see number 2942, R&D Performance Fabrication, new. So yeah, pretty dadgum sweet. All right, now let's go over here. By the way, I really should get lighter wheels for these drag radials. Maybe I will, we'll see. When I say this thing is complete, I mean, it's complete, at least as far as I can tell. Now I did get some stuff of my own. This is one of the things he suggested getting is the green filter. So I opted for exactly the same filter that I have in the CTS-V right now. Careful on Amazon, just because it's green doesn't mean it's actually a green filter brand. So make sure you're buying. I got this one directly from greenfilter.com. I was shocked at how much more boost I was making in the CTS-V when I moved to the green filter and how much louder the blower was when I switched to this filter. So I'm looking forward to that here. It'll be even noisier, which I just, how can you not love blower noise? In any case, I got that myself at Lance's suggestion. And then I also got an AEM boost gauge to match the other gauges that are in the truck. Here you go. Trust me, it's in there, okay? And trust me, it looks just like these gauges here. I got a 3 gauge pod instead of, come on camera. There you go. I got a 3 gauge pod that I'll replace the 2 gauge pod with. So there's the wiring. The nice thing about this gauge is that because it is the X gauge, because the wiring actually will allow me to log in HP tuners through that mod, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Doesn't matter. Okay, moving on. What else did I get? Oh, I also got, because I'm running the LQ4 valley cover and all the other stuff, I got a steam vent crossover and block off. So we'll put block offs in the back, the new black braided steam vent in the front. It'll look pretty sharp. Yep, Amazon. And then I did get a stainless one too, just in case. Let's see, what else have we got? Lance, the kit that Lance shipped me. Oh, here's the triple gauge pod. And what else did I buy that did not come with the kit, but doesn't necessarily need to, and I wouldn't expect it, is this here Evil Energy. Say what you want, I don't care. I'm running one on that truck. I'm running one on this truck. It's fine. I've not had any issues on this truck with all the Evil Energy stuff I have from Evil on the fuel system. So we're going to just complete that and install this external regulator, especially after that truck caught on fire because of the regulator I got from a aftermarket company, let's just say. Yeah, I think that's all I got on my own. You know, I've got some other stuff coming for like the catch can and things like that. Oh, spark plugs. He said, go get your own spark plugs. And he even said, get the BR7EF NG case. That's what they suggest to use with the blower. So everything else, here we got a throttle body, O-ring gasket. He shipped these block offs like we talked about for the blower. Got these E-clips for these fittings here, which go in the front for the coolant to circulate through. All the bolts. Here's a crank bolt and pin kit, and you know, we'll go look that up and see how far in we need to drill. And new crank bolt that prevents the balancer from spinning when the belt is on it, because that could happen, so that's great. The kit ships with a MAF adapter wire harness, so the MAF plugs in here, the harness plugs in here, and it splits everything out because the map and the air intake temp are in different spots, so easy. It ships with this wiring harness to allow us to enable relays for the coolant pump, which has to be mounted probably on the rad support, and it will pump coolant through that brick and in and out of this reservoir. I think he shipped me a used reservoir, probably was out of whatever reservoirs he typically uses. I may start with this and actually go with an aluminum one later. I'm not really that worried about it. Bolts to mount the reservoir. This did not come with a bracket to mount it. And I know that Edelbrock has a bracket for that, but instead I had this aluminum stock. You'll see what I'll do with that. I also had to get a throttle cable, which I did buy. This is an F-body throttle cable. For a Camaro or Firebird, I think like a 99 to 06 or 04, I forget, something like that. Anyway, it snaps right into the firewall, and the other end, I got a Motion Raceworks throttle cable mount. I got a bunch of Motion Raceworks stuff, but here is my first Motion Raceworks stuff, by the way, so I'm excited about that. Anywho, this bracket mount bolts right onto the blower itself and allows me to use the GM style throttle cable here, right here into that, and also then allows me to, well, they sent this adapter for the front, but more importantly, super excited about this. Looks so awesome. I want to keep it drive-by cable instead of drive-by wire, so I went with the Motion Raceworks Icon 92mm throttle body, cable driven. Pretty cool, pretty excited. This will bolt to the front of that, then the cable. Yeah, so that's really, really neat. What is this? What did I get here? Oh, I'm going to replace, because I'm putting a new throttle body on. Whoa. I'm also going to replace my IAC module here. I actually was having trouble with the Blue Truck idling, or when I would come off of idle, or come off of throttle and let it idle, it would die. And the reason is this sensor went bad. So I figured, you know what, we'll grab one and we'll throw it in. This throttle body takes all of the traditional LS sensors. I can't get it out of there, but fine. So that's great. Throttle position sensor and IX sensor just go right on there. Of course, I have all my Evil Energy and other AN fittings. I just put the box here. We will need some of that just to keep things clean. He shipped it with these two lines, I believe, for getting fuel in, but I'm not probably going to need them. And then these lines, I've actually ordered -10 lines from Evil Energy so that we can keep everything nice and clean. So they should be here, I don't know, tomorrow or Monday, I forget, Thursday, Friday, doesn't matter. We're not going to get that far today anyway. Here is our intercooler. This is a Magnuson intercooler. It's black. So we got water in, water out, mounting holes, top and bottom. So I'll have to come up with a way to mount that. Oops, sheesh. Here's the adapter plates we talked about. So these go from cathedral port, like you see here, or cathedral on this side. Sorry, cathedral on this side, rectangle on this side. So that allows the blower to bolt to the heads that I have without replacing the heads, which maybe we'll do someday, but not worried. Okay, all the fuel fittings. He's got a Y. These are the fittings for the coolant to go through the intercooler. and plugs. And all of that goes to these super fancy Holley EFI fuel rails, which I did not know that I was getting, but I'm not gonna cry about that. So that's cool. Also in the fuel rails go these here injectors. By the way, pretty cool. The injectors and all of these fittings, I don't know if you can see it or not, but all of these fittings say R&D. Oh, sorry, it says Red Horse Performance. I thought it said R&D Performance. Oh, this does. R&D Performance and Fabrication. So they're doing something right over there. That's for dang sure of it. And I believe these injectors say it too. Somewhere I thought I saw it. But there's Lance. Lance Dreger, 517-315-8940. Little business card. Oops, stickers. And this is probably flow data. Yep, flow data for the injectors. So that's neat. Again, you could get all this stuff somewhere else, maybe for a little cheaper, but good luck. And you'll be hunting and hunting. Here's that gasket we talked about for the brick. Here are our intake gaskets for the blower. You see they're rectangle. So that's why this does not have O-rings on this side, but this does, so this will go on the head. Then, pretty simple, he just goes with this ICT LSA truck tensioner and idler kit. And I believe, yep, this is also ICT. Another kit, this is the alternator and power steering kit. I may need a new power steering pump for this. He mentioned that I need a four-wheel drive kit. I can't remember if what I have came out four-wheel drive or not, so I did not order that, but they're easy to find and get. And this here super tensioner, which I believe is the super tensioner that's in the CTSV as well. When you have a blower and a long belt, these things need good tension. Otherwise the belt slips, gets hot, breaks, burns, you know, no fun. Anyway, like we said, that's a full kit. It's really not a lot. It looks like maybe a lot to some, but this is going to be pretty simple. These ICT things are tried and true. A lot of guys don't like them. I don't care. They're going to work for me just fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this. So let's dig in. First thing we need to do, pull all this off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. 8 mil for the cover. And probably, I think 7 for this. Yep. Let's pull the air intake, the MAF, all that off. Unplug this guy. It is so tight right now. I mean, that is close to the fan, this air intake tube. Ouch. So clearly that ain't going to work with this bigger blower setup. That's fine. We're going to cut stuff up and change stuff and, you know, just do the stuff that we do. I might be able to get away maybe without having to drain the coolant or remove this hose. We'll see. So ideally, we unplug all these injectors. Bloop. Okay, that's 8, 7, nope, sorry, 6, 4, 2. Now I've not run this truck in several days, so fuel pressure should not be an issue. Here is, oh boy, it's tight over here. But I'm hoping I can just pull this intake off. Here, let's unplug. IAC and throttle position. Beep, beep, beep. We'll have to remove the catch can for sure. We're not going to use it any hoose. So that's fine. and it's kind of in my way right at the moment. Okay, but we got all the injectors unplugged. Now, again, we're not using this catch can. We'll probably not be able to use the 6AN lines, but we will be able to use all of it on the blue truck. So I think what I'll do, frickin' mice, rats, so annoying. We had a rat issue for a while in here. They didn't get into the wiring, but they did sure chew the, there's little like peanuts in here or something, and poop. Anyway, I didn't think they got into this truck, but they did. So we'll just have to keep our eyes open for that. And I do have bigger injectors than this. If you remember, I had to put them in before sick week. I was running out of fuel. So that's fun. But that's okay. Let me try to get these fittings off for the catch can without damaging anything if I can, because there's one. Like I said, I'd like to use this can on the blue truck and it'll just bolt right on there. And I had a epiphany last night trying to, oh, that's really tight. I'm going to do something I've never done before with this new catch can that's coming, which is great. Essentially, I'm going to pull off the oil fill cap on that side and adapt it to 10AN-10. Let's pull this. And then I got another set of these same valve covers so that I can put another oil fill on the back and eliminate all the baffling stuff that's here that I'm running today, and really let this thing breathe with the bigger lines and the vented catch can. And I'll have essentially 2 oil fills that I'll adapt to 10AN. I think it's going to work out really nicely. There we go. All right, one more fitting to undo on the intake itself and the catch can. And all of its lines can stay attached but be removed. There it goes. Oh, okay, awesome. Catch can and lines for the blue truck instead. Blues Clues. This throttle cable came out of a, oh man, like an 01 Silverado. Come on. So it just snapped in here, and then you modify it at the pedal inside. There we go. Just get it out of the way. That is better. Now, can I get this fuel line off? I really despise these stupid wrenches. I need to buy a set that are not adjustable AN wrenches, because I just screw up all my fittings. Again, I don't really care all that much, but you know, could we have nice things? Maybe, if I had the right tools. There's a little fuel. Let's grab some towels. Okay. And Yep. There's our supply line. And I'm just going to support that for a second and grab a little cup. And we'll just drain this guy. Oh, maybe into the cup. I need to unplug the fuel pressure sensor. the sending unit that goes to the gauges we have inside. There we go. Okay, now we can drain this thing. Maybe a little bit coming out. Yeah, that's good. Now we'll just tuck this guy up and out of the way. Something like this for right now. And we do it again for the return line. Again, we're not using a return system when we swap this to the blower. So all of that I'll probably put over here on this fender with the fuel pump or fuel regulator we have. Okie doke. I do love AN fittings. They are so nice to work with. Drippy drippy. Okay, that's good too. Let's get this out of here. And I'm going to get a little zip tie and we'll just keep these things out of the way. We're going to have to extend them, which is fine. Fuel rails are disconnected. Thing is, all of my wiring, the whole harness runs. Let me unplug the coolant temp sensor. All the wiring for the harness runs underneath the fuel rails. So, yeah, getting all that out, not simple. Unhook the coils on this side. I need to get in here with a vacuum and clean out the rat turds. They don't really look like rats, they look like mice, but you know, annoying, those stupid little critters. They're not in here now, but they were. In a bad way. All right. Let me grab also a magnet tray. Perfect. So this is, if these come out, if the injectors come out of the intake, it won't make a mess. But if the injectors stay in the intake and come out of fuel rails, it'll make a mess. Let's hope for the former, shall we? Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm trying to be careful and gentle. Alright, that one's coming out of the intake and staying in the fuel rail because all the clips are still in. Yes. Yes. Okay, perfect. Obviously, like I said, the clips are still holding the injectors into the fuel rails, but some bucks can still make a mess. But if I tilt it forward, there we go. All right, injector's still in. Take this thing over here so it don't make a big mess. That's all out of the way now as well. I need to remove the booster vacuum line here. That's also simple. Done. With a little push lock fella. And I really at this point need to disconnect my battery. Positive side off and grounded to the chassis. Okay, here is our fuel pump line coming to the breaker. Get that thing out of the way. Good. Okay, got a little bit of slack there. Yeah, it's perfect. Okie doke. We are officially free of wiring and everything else. Let me grab a vacuum real quick and suck all that up. By the way, if you listen real close, you can probably hear a very high-pitched sound. That is these little mice and rat and rodent deterrent things actually work really well. I killed about probably 30 of them with traps, but they've not come back since I put those in. They're like super high pitched oscillating frequencies that I guess they don't like to hear and keeps them away. Does seem to work. All right, here we go. Intake removed, more mouse poop. You want to have a peek? Sure. Looks pretty good. There's a fair amount of oil in this intake. All right, great. But you can see all the rat poop, mouse poop, whatever. And very much looking forward to having the catch can, new catch can here. It'll help with some of that routed correctly once I get that other valve cover in. So yeah, I'm gonna clean all this up and we're gonna drop the blower on. I got way ahead of myself. No, we're not gonna put the blower on. I gotta pull the shroud off. I gotta pull the alternator and this whole bracket craziness off. I gotta take the steam, excuse me. Oh, I forgot. This truck already had blocks in the back. I thought this had full, all four corner steam vents, but it doesn't. Turns out, I don't need a steam vent kit at all on this truck. It ain't leaking, I ain't touching it. I think it's gonna be okay like it is, but we still have to remove all this other stuff in order to get the blower on. Look, some of you called me an idiot just now when I said, we're gonna drop the blower on. Why? You don't need to call me an idiot. I can make mistakes too. Man, tough crowd. Okay, so let's remove the shroud first because it's blocking other stuff that we need to take off. And this shroud is held on with a combination of zip ties like that and self-tapping screws. Nothing but the best. Question is, what size? Apparently none. Nope, there it is. What's this, I think? 8 mil. It might get a little bit dicey when it comes time to install the intercooler. And by dicey, I mean I might have to cut a bunch of stuff out because we're pretty jam-packed in here. Not like the dually, but jam-packed nonetheless. Got the transcooler and the rad. I don't have a condenser in this. That dually, whew, I got condenser, transcooler, oil cooler, radiator, 2 electric fans. That one has a mechanical fan too. But that truck's gonna work, gonna go to work. And I didn't want heat to be an issue, so we're not gonna put a blower on that. Don't need an intercooler. All right, that's probably good enough for now. Let me get a maybe 15 mil and remove the pressure on the pulley. I'm hungry. All right, let me just out my fingers in the fan. Take the pressure off of the belt, the tension. There we go. Now I'll keep this belt, because we could use it on old Blue's Clues. Yeah, it's a good spare. Well, I'm running a green belt on Blue's Clues, so you know. Look out. High tech over there. All the horsepower with the belt. All right, now I believe the alternator wire on the back is 10 mil. Yep. This right here is predominantly why I removed the battery cable. Pop that off. Put this back on the alternator so we know where it is. Then, let's see, this is it a 16 here too? Nope, 15. That's fine. Grab a 15 socket. Yeah. I don't think I actually need to take the alternator itself out. I probably just can get to the bolts on the bracket, but we're going to just do a little at a time. I got to take it all apart anyway and put it in the new bracketry. So it's got to come out anyway, and no sense fighting it on the ground if I've got the leverage here. There's the alternator. Okay, I got both the bolts out of the bottom of the shroud. Should be able to sneak it out now as well, hopefully without completely damaging the radiator. That would be awesome. Seems possible, maybe. Just a lot on here. Nope. Okay, the fan's got to come off first. Okay, it's the next day. I got tired last night and sort of just had enough. I was working on my other truck, had a bad carrier bearing, and that took most of the morning, so I was already whooped. Anyway, I was hungry, had some dinner. After dinner, decided, you know, I'm just gonna watch YouTube. And then went to bed later on. So back at it now today. We're gonna remove this fan right where we left off, and I'll bring you in right now and show you what the challenge is and what we're going to do to solve it and get the fan off. I have put 3 of the bolts back in that that bracket, which I'll show you in a second, but let's bring in and you can see what I'm talking about, what we're dealing with. So here's the issue. You see, even if I had the belt on, this would still be a problem, but when you turn the fan, obviously the pulley on the front of the water pump turns too, right? But if I hold the pulley, the fan still spins. And that's because there's a clutch inside this fan that allows it to free spin dependent on the temperature in the engine bay. So it keeps things cool, and it's not one-to-one. So the fan can actually spin at different speeds from the belt that's spinning the pulley at a different speed, which is what you want. The challenge is I need to get this nut off of the pulley to remove the fan. Now there are 4 screws, you can see 4 bolts behind the fan. Doesn't matter because those only remove the plastic part of the fan, the blades, and does us no good, except if I pulled them off it would get in our way from trying to get that big nut off here. So here's what we're going to do. Bill was over last night, came up with a good idea. Basically, we're going to jam this wedge that I cut and wrapped in duct tape in between the power steering pulley and the idler pulley here. And I put duct tape on it so it doesn't slip. Also, we could put vice grip pliers here on that pulley and prevent it from spinning. I've done that before, but it could mar up the surface of the pulley, in turn damaging the belt. So let's jam this in like this, and then I've got my all 16ths, and we're going to put that on the nut and break it free with this thing jammed in between there, hopefully preventing the pulley here from spinning based on the pressure and tension that creates there. So let me move you back to the tripod and we'll knock this thing out. I think it'll work really well. We'll drive this thing through here. I'll hold it like this and get this wrench on here. And again, we're going to use the pressure of the wedge between these two pulleys. Yep. Oh, there you go. Just like that. There's our wedge. Now I should be able to hold the pulley. Yep. Spin off the fan. Now what I need to figure out is this pulley press fit on there well enough, or do I put the big nut back on? I'll probably put it back on just to be safe. We got plenty of room. I'm gonna have to put electric fans in this. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, there you go. So you can see these 4 bolts are just to hold the plastic blades on, but you absolutely have to get this nut off the pulley, off the pump. And now we can take the bottom of the shroud out, maybe, without damaging the rad. That would be great. There we are. Now we have a ton of room here. And like I said, I have some electric fans that we're going to mount here. We'll still have plenty of room. So that worked very nicely. Now I need to try to get that bolt off the fan itself, maybe, and an impact might do that. So let me grab that thing off of there. I'd like to put it back on because, again, I'm not sure. Oh, actually, you know what? This thing is press. No. Okay, so the pulley is press fit inside the threads. So it's not like the pulley is press fit onto a collar. This thing's not going to come off. I'll look that up real quick just to be doubly sure, but putting the nut back on here does absolutely nothing for me at all, because the only thing that would prevent this from ever coming off of the pump, not that I think it will, but it may be keyed. Is it keyed? No, it's not keyed on the inside, but the only thing that would ever prevent this pulley from coming off permanently forever is welding it on the front, and I'm not going to do that. So okay, on to the next step. Well, that next step is pulling these bolts back out. Now, like I said, I had to put 3 of the bolts back in this giant bracket, and I'm hoping I can pull these 3 bolts back out and just swing this over and just let it set here for a bit while I figure out what I need to do in order to get the power steering pump, which may just unbolt. Maybe I should actually, oh yeah, for sure, it does not go all the way around. So there are some bolts behind this pulley for the power steering pump that I need to take off. This whole bracket here goes away. This idler pulley, this tensioner, all that goes away. And then, like I say, we're going to need to pin the crank too, but not terribly worried about that right now. For now, I just want to get rid of this. And I think if I pull off these 1, 2, 3 bolts, I should be able to slide them out enough to get the bracket itself off, in theory. And for that also, this is the bolt that came out of the side of the block. We'll just put that back in because that actually goes through the power steering pump itself, not this bracket. So yeah, I'm gonna, I think, pull this off. Well, no, I'll leave these 3 bolts in and pull those bolts out from behind. Is it a 15 mil is the question. That would be awesome. I have one here. Yes, it is. Okay. Of course, the power steering line is in the way, and you don't have a whole lot of room. Oops. Oh boy. I really don't like messing with pulling the pulleys off of these power steering pumps. I always seem to struggle, and then the tools that I think it's mostly probably the tools that I have are junk. I don't even know if I have a power steering pulley pulley puller that isn't damaged, because every time I use the crappy Harbor Freight one I have to get a new one. So maybe I should spend some good money and get a good puller. But I'll tell you what, the right thing to do is pull this pulley off, because I do not believe that I'd be able to even get a wrench in there once those bolts started backing out and got behind this pulley. So I'm gonna go grab my puller and try to pull this thing off. So stand by, let me struggle with that. Small side against the pump, slide the collar on. Now in theory, we put that on there. Let me find the right wrench for that. Looks like maybe a 9/16 or even a half. Oh yeah, that probably just broke. I'm not even sure if, honestly, this is the power steering pump I need. But we're gonna keep going here anyway until something breaks or it comes apart. Whichever's first. I'm gonna go ahead and hope that that noise we hear is, oh yeah, I think that's the pulley coming off actually. That popping sound. There we go. Do not like that, but I was successful. Now you see what happens? These Harbor Freight tools just, they're not hard enough metal, really is what it comes down to. You see that? I didn't even use an impact, and we oiled everything, but they're just, that's all metal junk. But it's off. I think, no, yeah, this pump came off of my donor truck for this engine, and it's fine, but I'm not going to put that metal filled rag back in there. Okay, now I can remove this. So in theory, I don't need to disconnect the lines on the pump, and I can still remove the bracket. That's just a theory. Let's take the bracket off. The pump itself, remember, is still connected to the frame over here. Or sorry, to the block itself. Yep, that'll work. Boom. Gone. Now you see the pump is still has one bolt back there just barely holding her on there, but that's fine. Whew. That wore me out. Let's see if I can't tighten that bolt up just a hair. Yeah, something like that should be pretty good. Okay, excellent. Now I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up and get ready to bolt it all back up again with the new brackets. But I think we should probably now, just to get it on here, because if I put, well, see, I don't know if I want to put the blower on first and get in the way of my brackets, or put the brackets on and have the brackets in the way. But I can also then verify that I have the right pump. So maybe the right thing to do now is, first thing, remove the tensioner, We already got the idler off when that bracket came off. Should be one more bolt for that. Yep, long one. Okay, there's the idler. We don't need that anymore. I think that's all the brackets I need to take off. Let's take a look at the new billet brackets from ICT, but I'm pretty sure those have directions, so it'll give us some guidance. Here is that ICT billet kit that I've been talking about. Let's grab a knife. So there's two kits here, really. This one here is the LSA truck tensioner and idler kit. Now the reason someone needs to make this is because there was never an LSA blower on a 6-liter. Never was a thing. It was always a 6.2. And of course there was never an LSA on a truck from factory anyhow. So that's great that someone builds that. You don't have to cobble things together. This one is the LSA truck alternator and power steering bracketry, and the reason is the same. That's not a combination that ever existed. So I'm going to start actually with that kit because it goes on that side of the block that we were just questioning. You know, do I need to remove the power steering pump completely? Is it the right pump at all? We're going to find out. Again, I don't know if that thing came out of a, I can't remember if it was 4-wheel drive or not. I think it was because I didn't get the transmission from the same truck that the engine came out of. So I normally do that. In this case, I did not, and I believe that's why. 4-wheel drive ADEs and 2-wheel drive ADEs are much, much different because they have to put a transfer case on the 4-wheel drive ones. So it's a shorter trans tail shaft and housing. It's a whole thing, and I usually don't even bother messing with getting transmissions out of 4-wheel drive trucks. There's so many ADE, 2-wheel drive ADEs available that are in good shape. So, all right, so here is our kit. And for anyone curious, the part number for the truck LSA truck alternator and power steering kit is 551787A-3. Okay, look, 4 steps. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Factory truck power steering pump. Careful, this will give you cancer only in California. Because it's aluminum, you know. Anyway, boy, that is all over the place. Steel bolts, they'll give you cancer. Aluminum, give you cancer. All right, let's just do the thing here and see what we come up with. Look, they even give you a ruler on here. How sweet of them to measure your bolts. That's pretty cool, actually. All right, first things first. We need all the brackets and the spacers. And let's see, are we gonna get lucky here? I should probably just unbolt this power steering pump and just move it out of the way. I think that's gonna be the right thing to do here. Easy enough. That's actually very cool the way they detail all the spacer sizes and give you stuff to measure it with. Super easy, direct, straightforward. And our bolts. We'll drop one down in the head, I'm sure, before the day is done. Fine. Step 1 is just what we're going to do here. It appears that this bracket goes like this, and this bracket goes like this, and the alternator will be held in here in the top. So this might be a wee bit tricky But let's just see how things sort of line up. Aha! I see where the holes go. 4 of them. Boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the bottom. That's pretty simple. All right, so first thing we need is one of these. And then the 2-inch spacer, which is second from the largest that I have. That's this guy. And basically, oh wait, dummy, has to go through here first. Yep. One, two. Yep. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Boom, 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 boom. So these short bolts should thread 1, 2, 3, and 2 of those. Slightly longer ones. Nuts, washers, or spacers. These things are for, so let's see here. Yeah, the pump goes in between these brackets. So I should actually be okay to put that bolt back in the side of the block that we just took out. Maybe, in theory, I don't know. But the other question is, does it actually, is the bolt pattern correct? 1, 2, yeesh. That's what I'm not entirely sure of. So let's, yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. Looks like 1, 2, 3 is where the power steering. I don't understand. Nope, I believe I have the incorrect. Yeah. I believe I have the incorrect power steering pump here. Oh boy. Oh, that sucks. Let's see if I can't flip this thing up. Yeah, there we go. Can you guys see that? Yeah, it's like right there. That's the pump on its back. Probably leaking all over the place. Not yet. Now if I take this bracket, I believe the pump fits in here like this. Oh wait, this actually might work. Go figure, the radiator's in the way again. That radiator I didn't want to take out. I got 3 bolts, 1, 2, and that one will reach there. I do believe this is going to work just finely. So I'm going to go ahead and put that bolt back in the side of the block to hold that pump. You know, the bolt that I just put in this bracket. At least semi-tight. Now if I do this, 1, 2, 3. Oh, you know what? It does actually look like that I won't use that mounting location anymore. Huh. All right, I might jump onto ICT Billet's website and just have a gander at what they recommend for a power steering pump, because part of my issue also is that I'm with the line right up against the frame rail. So if that isn't correct, I kind of need to know now. The ones with the collar are the 40 mil. See, there's a collar on this up top, a shoulder, and then the spacer goes behind it because it takes up the slack. There's like a small indentation on the pump itself. So, oh, come on. Come on, baby. Please start. That's in there. Whew. Then this 37 mil. Yeah, 35 mil bolt. And this little baby 0.3 inch spacer. Boop. Yep. That goes up here on the last spot for mounting the power steering pump to the bracket itself. Now I'm hoping I'm not making a mistake here by doing this out of order, but I really do believe, because the lines are hooked up, that it's going to be easier for me in the end, in the long run. Okay, so next up is playing games with all of this and trying to get this power steering pump up here. Oh yeah, I think we're going to be good. So let me take this bolt out because I think it's going to be in the way of the pump. La Bamba. And let's put this through here, first bolt with the sleeve. Maybe not. All right, let's put one of these bolts back in over here. Actually, up here. Yeah. And we'll fight with this now. Everything's a fight. Yep, power steering line's most definitely in the way. So that sucks. Doesn't seem like by a whole lot. Brake lines. Honestly, I may be able to persuade them. But this is why I wanted to do this now. Yeah, because I may actually have to grind the frame just a little bit there, but I may also be able to bend that just enough, that line, to get it out of my way. And so I'm not fighting with the spacer. I think I just bent it, which may be enough. All right, let's take this one back out. See, I need to rotate this front panel up. This bracket has to come like right now it's rubbing on the balancer on the bottom, which obviously is a problem. And the reason for that is because I am now rubbing on the back line for the power steering, the low pressure line, which isn't a big deal. It can be, you know, manipulated. And the whole thing really needs to come a lot tighter together. Oh, turns out the bolt on the back for that bracket does need to come off. And it also turns out that I do need to bend that bracket, or sorry, the power steering line. Just convince it, not bend it, convince it. These are things you run into, like I said, unexpected stuff, right? But you deal with it, or you don't do a project like this. That's not to say it doesn't get frustrating, because it certainly does. But sometimes you just walk away, come back, futz with it more later. Right now I need to get that off. $15? No. Smaller. ICT bolts for the bracket are 13. Sockets, wrenches, whatever your choice is. Let's get this thing spun so I can get this bracket off. That's going to be a 15, I believe. Yep. Watch the radiator. There's the nut and the bracket. This is a factory bracket that bolts the pump to the block, but we don't need it. It's not that we don't need it, it's that we can't use it because all that was in the way. And in fact, I wonder if those aren't in the way too. There's little studs off the back, but they were definitely in the way. Okay, I think we're going to be good now. Let's try it again. I got like 6 threads on that. Something, 4, I don't know. More than one. Well, I guarantee you, some of you are watching this yelling at your TV because I am an idiot. I've been sitting here fighting with this off camera for like half an hour, only to realize there are more spacers that belong behind this, and that is my problem. I did not need to pull those studs out. I did not need to bend those lines up and destroy the pump. But what we do need to do is take it all out and start again. Because I'm too close to the block and no wonder nothing was fitting. But they do give you all the right pictures. I can read, apparently I just can't follow pictures. I don't know. Bolts are fine. This one I got in here pretty good, so back him out. I'm like, man, this just isn't fitting. It doesn't make sense. I confirm that my pump is right and everything else is correct. Nothing was fitting, nothing was fitting. Well, that's why. Oh, I'm a dummy. Okay, so let's get this guy out of our way. take these off. And behind this rear bracket goes a 1.4-inch spacer. Three of them? Just three? One. No, I think four. Which should be these spacers. Yep. What an idiot. Now my question is, question of the questions, can I put another bolt in there just to hold it? No, probably not. Okay. That pulley is super annoying. Alright, those. Let's put this one in here first. This. This. And this. Yeah. Now. This is so stupid. I don't want to tighten all that real tight because the alternator has to go in. Says the next step is to put the pulleys on. And for that we need obviously the pulleys, the little spacers, 2 thick washers, 2 bolts at 60 mil. I can probably do that from the bottom. Can I get my other hand up there to hold the assembly? Yep. This one I can get my hand in to put the nut on the back of the bolt. Now the alternator gets the other 2 80mm bolts, no washers, and 2 nuts on the back. Nothing wrong with it. It ain't the cleanest unit, but you know, it alternates. So my guess is, if and when it comes time to replace any of this, either the alternator or the power steering pump, you basically just loosen all the bolts except for the pulleys and pull it all out from the top or the bottom, depending on what's what. Now, 15, no, yeah, we'll do the pulleys before I forget. Yep. Okay, this is just a tensioner. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it should not be as stressful as the last one. So I need the tapered and the tensioner bracket, 2 tapered bolts. Come on. There you go. They sit right in here and here and bolt to the front. I know for sure I can get to this bolt. I just don't think I'm gonna get the Allen wrench in between the bolt and the power steering pump. That's a shame. I was trying to not dump coolant if I didn't have to. It's always a mess. But truth be told, I gotta mount the intercooler in I think it's going to go between the transcooler and the radiator down low. Yeah, and I do believe that the rad, well, I could probably tilt the rad back. Let me just fight with this like everything else. Let's see if I can't get a wrench in there. Hang on. Okay, it is a 6mm Allen key, and if I shave this or cut this, it will fit. And then put it in the glove box because it's the wrench forever to go with this truck. I have cut and ground and wire wheeled this Allen key. So now I should not need to pull. Yep, it's turning. So I don't need to pull the water pump, which is great. I'm not lazy about it. I just, you know, there's no reason. I'd rather not make a mess and spend money on coolant and whatever else. Is this going to work? I don't know. Turned it once. There it goes. If you don't have the tool, make the tool. Or modify what you have. And this was just a spare set of Allen keys that I had. There. That's tight. Okay, excellent. That will stay with the truck. That is done. The next section is 3 1.52 spacers. Okay, it just dawned on me why they're showing a Camaro pump. The truck pump has the water outlet coming out the top, and I've never really liked that anyway, which is why a lot of guys use the Camaro pumps, because they come out the front, or in, sorry, I think it's the inlet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That won't work. I don't know, can you see that there? Yeah, so you see the way the line comes around and then goes down. It needs to come a different route and go in the front of the pump, and that won't work coming out the top anyway, because if you look on the blower, which I think you can see over there, the pulley is right there and would hit all that, I believe. So I'm pretty sure it has to come out anyway. That is not a problem. It's just messy is what it is. We'll grab a Camaro pump and everything will bolt right up, and then I just got to figure out a hose, which isn't a big deal. So okay, anyway, that's all I can do for today. See you next time. Okay, some quick back and forth with Lance there on Facebook Messenger. I mean, when I say he's there, he is there. What a good guy, super helpful. That's why I bought from who I bought from. But anyway, all the pictures I saw, and including the instructions, showed that I needed to use an F-body LS1 pump. He says, nope, don't need to. And in fact, we may just need to spin this thing, the water neck, in the truck pump so it clears. But spinning that is only going to help with this weird angle I have in this hose. So that's going to be awesome. I'll probably grab this and spin it. Now I have glued this thing, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Might have to heat it up. Anyway, not worry about that tonight. What I want to do tonight is get this onto this pump. And the instructions showed it like way up in here, and it wasn't going to fit. So I reached out and he said, no, you can use that pump. It's right here. So just pull these bolts out. 1, 2, 3, boom. And they will be replaced with these bolts and these spacers. So essentially, those 3 holes that hold the pump to the block will be lined up like this with the spacers that I have, and then the idler pulley will go here at the bottom of this bracket, which is perfect. I don't need to get a new water pump. I've ordered it, but I don't need to pay for it. And then he sent me this photo. So if we zoom in, you can see the bracket right here and then the idler. So that thing goes on just like in the picture. Super simple. So let me get to putting this on real quick and show you when I'm done. Well, that was easy. It only took me like about 30 seconds to put that thing on. So that's how it goes, just like that. We've got all this bracketry. I have ordered, by the way, a new power steering pump. I may need to notch this frame just a little bit more, but we'll find out when the new pump comes. Not terribly concerned. Pop that pump in when it gets here. Then the tensioner is on, or the tensioner is on here with this bracket. All that's perfect. And then the idler pulley is down there. So our belt routing, I've ordered the belt, by the way, and the belt routing looks pretty simple and basic. I did have a concern that because this here comes out of the front for an F body, and then in a like a 2010 Camaro, which is another pump, would be down here, so that wouldn't work. But you could use the F body in the front. I did order a hose. I might cancel that order. And like Lance said, I can just spin this way out of the way. Yeah, that was great. I'm happy that that went like it did. I fought with it, but they were all my own troubles and hot rod stuff. So in short, pretty good. Yeah, it took quite some time, but I don't care. I'm not rushing here. It's all good. So no, I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing. Anyway, that is officially it for tonight. And I'll get back on this thing probably tomorrow. Well, next day. I have gotten all the bracketry done on the front. It wasn't fun, okay? And I also replaced the power steering pump, equally not as fun, but it's in there. The pulley's on, all the lines are replumbed, which was the not easy part. And I've mounted our bracket for the power distribution, which I will show you all right now. Essentially, we've got, here's the power, that's from a factory location. I've just reused the bracket. You can see our new power steering pump with the old cap, all the brackets, and there's the power steering pump pulley. Come on, camera. There we go. And the tensioner, everything is there. So what's next? Well, I'll tell you what's next. We're going to fill that hole right now. I spoke with Lance. He says we can actually use this water pump, which is great. I just had to rotate the water neck in its location so that it was away from where the blower snout will be. And then I'm probably going to have to bend this vent line out of the way a little bit too. But all very minor, nothing a pair of pliers can't fix. So let's get at it. I have my blanket here set up so I can rest the blower here. It's quite heavy, and then we'll get it in. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Let me grab the adapters first. As I mentioned earlier, these are cathedral port to rectangle port adapters. They're CNC billet machined. Really quite a nice piece. I don't know who makes these actually. LSX Innovations, according to the sticker. The bolts come in a Fastenal bag. Interesting. Anyway, these guys sit on right here with the O-ring facing down because we put rectangle style gaskets on here underneath the blower. So yes, this does raise the blower up some, but I'm not opposed to that. So cathedral port down, obviously. Get them lined up. Bolt holes and everything else. You know, this could be a little bit tricky because we got to get these bolts down through the blower once it's there. So I got to set the blower. I might pick one side up and put gaskets in, the other side put gaskets in. I think that's going to be the easiest way. But you know, there's kind of no keys or alignment pins or any of that for gaskets and stuff. So I don't know. Let's just see how things go, I guess. We'll find out together. Well, before we put the blower in the truck, we have to look at something that I just remembered. So on the bottom here, you see it says brake flush. Apparently this is on LSA blocks, but not this 6-liter, maybe others too, I'm not sure. But in any case, what I've read is you just smack this thing with a chisel and it basically shatters out. I believe there's only a pin on one side. We can have a quick look. Yep, looking down there, it's totally flush. So I guess maybe they don't break this off for me because they don't know what I'm putting this on. I don't know. But either way, it's fine, and we're going to break it off right now. So let me grab, I guess, a chisel. It says brake flush, not pull out. So let's see what happens here and see how this turns out. Okay, here's our dowel pin, whatever you want to say. I have a feeling this is going to probably knock my light off, but I got a chisel and a hammer. Oh boy. Yep, there it goes. I'll hit that a little bit to grind it down, but there's our piece. Anyway, it's just a little bit, I could probably hit it again actually. Let's see, maybe even this smaller chisel. Yep, that's it. So I'm just going to clean that up a little tiny bit to really get it super flush, but then I think she's ready to drop on. Okay, here we go. It's all cleaned up, ready to drop on, I think. I did already bend the steam valve down because I'm pretty sure the throttle body will come out and need to be done anyway. So, moment of truth. As I mentioned, yeah, it is not lightweight at all. But thankfully General Motors gave us this nice resting place, which is pretty great. And we can effectively, hopefully. All right, let's see what happens here. Holy smokes, this thing is heavy. Okay, trans tube is in the way, but I think I can sneak it under. Nope, I cannot sneak it under. Okay. Trans tube, dipstick tube needs to come out of the way. I was a little concerned about that. But for my angle, it looked okay. Clearly, I was mistaken. Question is, hey, now it's out of the way. I do believe, oh, that's really tight. I don't like that. Oil pressure sensor wire is entirely too tight. Oh, okay, that should be good. Yep, there we go. I just had some slack down low. We're good now, I think. Or I broke the wire, and I'll have to find that later. Either way, that'll be fun. Okay. Yep. Take two. I mean, I had it on there once. Goodness. I think I'm going to try. Oh, let's turn this like this. No, that's good. Let me grab the gaskets real quick anyhow. Please don't fall. And then I realized if I flip this thing over, it came with rivets. And there's holes. I wonder if there's holes in the blower. Let me take this back over the table again. Third time. I do believe we can rivet these on. Let's see. Okay, well, let's see here. I would assume these, since they're recessed, and these holes here would match up pretty dadgum sweet. Yeah, so rivet gun time. Stand by. That's perfect right there. That's pretty neat. I was wondering how I was going to line stuff up. Apparently, this is how. That's awesome. That is just too cool. So, real quick, this is not a perfect rectangle. You see there's actually a slight bump up on each one of these corners. Make sure you're matching that. Now, if you have it upside down, the rivet holes won't line up. You also want to make sure your recessed holes for the rivets are facing down, in this case up, so that the rivets go in the hole, in the recessed area, and then, you know, do the right thing to keep everything flush, which is what we want. Now, I totally could have not gone and filed that piece from the dowel pin that I knocked off with the chisel. The gaskets would have made up for it, but we did it anyway. Okay, excellent. Now, let's go for attempt numero tres to get this blower on the truck. What's great is now these are not going to move. They're perfectly aligned. Yeah, I feel real good about that. Also, if you look, they have it's like sort of pressure ridges for holding the screws in, which is nice when you pull it out, but I don't think I'm going to need it right now as long as everything stays aligned, which it will. So, okay, let's go to the truck. Attempt number 3. Yep. Now I want to be careful not to slide this thing around. Those gaskets are on the bottom. Yes, they are riveted on, but no, I don't want to rip the O-rings up, get dirt on it, you know, just all the things, potentially break the rivets off, all that fun stuff. Let's not have fun like that, okay? It's not fun. So, should go right in now. Here we go. Okay. Ah, I see. Now I went, I think, too far with this elbow. Thankfully, I did not re-glue it. I had sealant on here to keep it from leaking, but I did not reseal it. So I should probably be able to just pick this thing up just a little bit, maybe put something up underneath of it, and then turn this thing exactly where I want it to be, which is really coming out this way, which is kind of close to where it was. Anyway, I'll rotate that. It's very easy. And then we'll be able to bolt it down. So like I said, I did not put sealant back in this. See that? That should be where I need it to be. And then ultimately, what I did yesterday was to grab Let's see. We'll grab this body. No, I'll grab this small dead blow. And we're not going to smack it. But if I can find the chisel I was using. Here it is. Okay, so we don't need to smack it hard, but I'm going to use a chisel right on the lip of the water neck, go all the way around, get it seated, because when I turned it, it did come out a little bit, so we want to make sure it's all the way back down in the pump, which it is now, and then I can put sealant on there again, not right now, but you know, at some point before we start it. So yeah, try number 4, I think. Hot rod stuff, right? It's not plug and play, but it's close. Here we go. Oh, she's heavy. Oh. Golly. Okay, we're down. There we go. I think it needs to come up forward a little. Grab my light and a stool. Yeah, the holes appear to be all lined up. Well, for the most part. I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, I'm extremely happy with that. How could you not be? Bolt-on smiles right there. Lance did mention when I was talking to him yesterday, there's a small port on the bottom of this diaphragm here. I believe this is a bypass for when you're cruising or idling. Anyway, there is a small port there that he says just doesn't get used. It's left open. I think they've made some customizations to the blower for these applications. In any case, he said if I had to, I could cut that off, but it's not in the way of anything. This little vacuum line here is perfect. I mean, yeah, I seem to have done the thing. I also seem to have bent the steam vent line exactly like it needs to be bent. Pretty cool too. Well, unfortunately my battery died, but I didn't do anything except for message Lance to ask him what the torque spec is for these bolts. He's not responded yet. I only just messaged him, so he'll respond. He's really, really fast to respond. But I did get one bolt in there. I'm going to get another one in back here. Oh, I'm doing it all by hand to start. Make sure everything is lined up the way it's supposed to be. And this is the question. This is going to be the answer to the question right here. It appears to be lined up. I guarantee you there's also a process to bolt these, a pattern to bolt these down, but I don't have it right now, and I'm taking my time, going easy here. Next, I'm going to put the brick O-ring gasket seal. Don't need to, but we're going to do it anyway. And this appears to go this way. How do I know? There's a notch in the center front of the gasket location, and there's a key, essentially, on the gasket O-ring. Just get that in there nice and flat. That's a nice seal. All right, let's throw the lid on just to have it on there, because this is really all I'm gonna get done tonight. Got some things to do, folks. Oh, what? You know, I need to put the throttle body on. All right. This appears to be the same front and back. So we just need to get it in there past the ridges that are all around it. And don't start in one place and go all the way around. You'll have a ton of gasket left that you can't get in there. So like that, see? So we can do one at the bottom, one at the top, these two on the one side, these two on the other side. You just kind of gotta rotate back and forth instead of going around it. Yes, okay. Motion ships the throttle body with the screws, which is I'm glad for. Oop, don't drop them. I'll put them back in the box because this isn't really a permanente thing here. I just want to see it. That's all. Nothing wrong with wanting to see it. Those are 5 mil as well. Turns out I have an Allen wrench here for it already. Like I said, my first Motion Raceworks part, their Icon throttle body, 92 millimeter. Never had a need for it before, but I'll be honest, those other throttle bodies from GM, they've seen some miles, and you know, they're not leaking or causing vacuum problems or anything like that, but I think I'm going to get some good performance out of this. You got to get the air in, right? So spend the money on the blower, you got to spend the money for all the accessories as well. Now let's take this off again. I can put this on here. I'm sure Motion has torque specs too. I'm not gonna go crazy here. Okay. Boom. Man alive. That thing is just mean. It's mean, I'm telling you. I am digging that for sure. Can I get this thing over here? I think the answer is going to be yes. As long as I can get the hood to close. Yeah, that might work. Let's get this underneath the hose just to see. Careful of the radiator now. I don't like it. Not really. How about if I put it under this giant steam vent line? Oh, that works, but it's kind of close to, you know, the pulley and some of the exhaust, of course, close to the exhaust, drawing in warm air, which is not what you want to do with a supercharged engine, or any engine for that matter. Let's pull this thing out, give that another little twist. Tuck them back in, just a little baby adjustments here. There we go. There we go. I think that will work as long as it clears my fans. and it will definitely draw nice cool air right in there. Gets me away from the rad. Yeah, something like that might work. I could also, if I really wanted to, basically take this coupler off completely, and I could get just a small piece of silicone. Yeah, I gotta trim all these tabs and stuff off. Yeah, actually I think that would fit. I could always cut this down. Like I say, I have the adapter here to go down to 4 inches. Just put that adapter on, a small piece of silicone, knock that out like I did on that side through the rad support, and I think this is the way to do this. Just got to cut it down to get the air filter tray and the MAF to fit. Well, that's it for tonight. Boy, have we made some progress in the last few nights here in the shop. I really have not spent a lot of time all in one shot. Like I said, an hour a day gets your projects done. We're certainly getting this project done an hour at a time. So that's it for tonight. Honestly, I think that's going to be it for this first part of this video. It's going to be a little long. So I'll pick this up in the next episode of Horsepower Ranch, Florida. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, all the fun stuff. If you want a hat, email me, horsepowerranchflorida@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Happy to send you out a hat. Probably going to do some shirts, especially if we get into sick week. So let me know. I'll bring some shirts too. Bring them with. Bring the hats. We got stickers galore. I'll give you stickers if you come to sick week. Anyway, thanks. See you soon.